Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the World Center of Racing. We are here under the lights at Daytona International Speedway, and this is kind of the start of Daytona Week, Speed Weeks, whatever you want to call it here on CRN, because we're going to have 3 races here at Daytona, back to back to back. We got Daytona here tonight for the CORE Xfinity Series, presented by simraces.com. Tomorrow night, we got the Pit Road Speed Limit Racing. They're going to be here at Daytona. And then Thursday night, we'll have the Virtual Velocity Racing Xfinity Series here at Daytona as well, with CSRL getting in the mix there with their own oval racing with a little bit of dual action there. We got the combined from Monza tomorrow night. That is, if road courses aren't your thing, you still want to tune in tomorrow night, because that is going to be a fun one. First time, certainly on CRN, that the Monza combined is going to be featured here. And just to give you a heads up, Monza had an oval. It's old and decrepit, but it is on iRacing, and you can run it. We have run it before, in the past on some series. But there is a configuration where you run both the oval and the road course all together in one full lap. So it is a long lap and may only be a 5-lap race depending on how long it is. But either way, that's tomorrow night. Tonight we got to focus on the first race here at Daytona. Caroline, we're joined in the booth by Jimmy Covert. Jimmy, 55 laps here under the lights of Daytona tonight.
I mean, I'm going to be here all week. Yeah, I mean, it's Daytona. A lot of drivers like it, or they hate it, or they love it and hate it at the same time. It's, white knuckle, door to door, the adrenaline that they wish to have, the moment they want from the Days of Thunder or Talladega Nights, whatever it may be, to get that win here, that elusive 1,000th of a second win. So we're looking forward to seeing who can come out on top here tonight. Kind of almost anybody's game, but there is a little bit of strategy to it. Clean pit stops, staying out of trouble, not pushing things too far when you can. We do have a few drivers out there, with some flags that they have to just be careful so they don't get themselves in trouble and not have to miss a week or so. But obviously there's a lot of that to take into consideration. Have a lot of drivers out here tonight. I already see 32 drivers qualified. It looks like we have about 6 or 7 more at least to go. So
39.
I think we're going to break 40 here tonight. Yeah, 39.
Yep, so we got 39 drivers set to take the green flag here tonight.
We got a few too many.
Yeah, 39 ready to take the green flag here tonight. Just finishing up their qualifying. A couple new faces out there. One of them is going to be making her debut here in the Xfinity Series, and that is Courtney Nickerson, as she's been over there in the CORE GT Series, but I guess got swayed and talked into coming over here to run the rest of the season here in the CORE Xfinity Series. So yeah, she does here tonight. Got the return of a couple of drivers just kind of doing some one-off races. We got obviously a lot of the drivers out here trying to run for points as well, and this is working to get very sketchy. We would have 40 here tonight, but we do have a driver on suspension, and unfortunately not going to see Joey Cruz out there tonight. Suspended for tonight's race after the accumulation of driver points up to this race, so he will be eligible to be back in action starting next week, just serving the 1 race suspension, and then we'll see what Joey Cruz can do back in action. But as Jimmy said, there's a lot of drivers that, Daytona is hard enough. When you're racing for points, it gets even tougher, and when you're racing with points on your driver's license in CORE, it gets even tougher because all the penalties are doubled when you're on probation. So you got to be smart out there at all times at Daytona. But we'll see who's got the hot shoe tonight. Again, it's going to be 39 drivers, 55 laps. Looks like we are all done with the most unimportant qualifying of the season. Jimmy, why don't you give us that rundown?
Do I have to? Me? No, not me. All right, okay. We can get this one in here tonight. We're going to give you a rundown of the results as they are. And it looks like the Ryans will be on the front here tonight. Tommy Ryan, number 66, and the number 34, Jeff Ryan on the outside. Starting on that second row is going to be Jack Stoneman with Chad Coleman and Alan Elwood and Randy Yoakum there on road number 3. AJ Roderick and Zane Bierman make up road number 4. Road number 5, Tyler Skozen and James Hislop. Paul Butler showing us car out here tonight in row number 6 with Dan Phelps. Row number 7, Josh Van Weston with Danny Ware. Matt Crockett out here in the number 10 with Louis Orduna back there in row number 8. Courtney Nickerson is going to start there in row number 9 with Joe Thomas on the outside. Jake Lesh back there in row number 10 with Kevin Foster in that P number 20. Dave Tilford, John Williams make up row number 11. Troy Snyder and Jeremy Gainey make row number 12. Row number 13, Datelin Drummonds with Chris Hayes. Michael Schwartz and Ricky Renner back there in row number 14. Stephen Harris and Courtney Nelson back there on row number 15. Terry Jansen and James Turnbull in row number 16. Row number 17 being Robert Matthews and Gary Wright. Sean Hook back there with Jonathan Cruz in row number 18. Joe Sullivan in the back here tonight with Matthew Simmons and John Crane in that 39th spot. So one short of 40, 55 laps here at Daytona underneath the lights. Let's see what they got, Carl.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of joke around, and me and Jimmy even joked around. It's 55 lap race tonight, and 50 laps are I don't want to say worthless, even though that's what I said. You need to run those first 50 laps. You need to run the first 50 to get to the last 5, and you really got to just survive those first 50 to get to the last 5. But in the midst of all that, it's pit stops, and I know we had Dover a little bit last week, where you seen arguably the toughest pit road to get into. Tonight is not easy under green flag conditions here at Daytona. If you have to make a pit stop, you got to come in with a friend. And a lot of times, Jimmy, it's more than just one friend coming in with you. You're coming in with a pack of drivers, and with 39 out there, I mean, even if that's spread out for 3 separate laps, you're looking at least 13 cars in together at a time. So we'll see how they all handle out there. But in the meantime, I'll take a look at the point standings coming into tonight. Top of the boards for the Platinum Division as we're in the second half of the season now. Alan Elwood with a 37-point lead over Jack Stoneman. Tyler Skozen in third, 40 points back. In the gold, it is Jake Lesh starting to gap his way there over David Tilford, 47 points back. Joey Cruz, 55 back. In the silver division, it is Ricky Renner up by 16 over Matt Crockett, 17 over Dalton Drummonds. Excuse me. And then in the bronze, closest points battle of them all, it is Jeremy Gainey up by 5 on Joe Thomas and 6 on Nathan Nickerson. So we'll see how everything transpires. And again, it's a race tonight that everyone, at least probably majority of the field, is just looking to survive and get to the next week. But I'm sure the other half of the field is looking for the chance at getting a win here on the season, as there's not too many more left on the season that are like this one. I mean, maybe you can look at Homestead, but even Homestead is definitely a driver's track. So we'll see what they got in store next week at Echo Park. It's going to be a super speedway type race, but it's certainly not going to be easy for these drivers. It's a little bit tighter and a mile shorter, but we are ready to get this thing underway here. Pace car is off, and it's in the hands of Barney to get the drivers up to speed. We are racing here at the Daytona International Speedway.
That's a lot of cars. We're going to go down into turn number 1 as they get on that loud pedal. I kind of wind it up here. It takes about a lap-ish or so to kind of get up to speed fully. And, we're going to have, I think, maybe some drivers, well, I don't know. I think everybody kind of has their plans here tonight. 55 laps is quite a while out here. It's 45 seconds or so a lap. So, you can get a good 40 minutes of racing in here tonight under green. And you have to be at the right spot at the right time. And, just who are you behind? Are you near your partner? And that's probably some of the jockeying around that I would work with here early. But I want to get too far out of the draft. Things can separate. Obviously, we do know there's a stop, at least one stop that needs to happen tonight. So, yeah, it's just way too early. I see some 3 wide towards the back as they head down across the start finish line. But out front here is they're still 2 wide. And I think we're going to see this pretty much all night. It's just who wants to make the move, who wants to get going forward, who's comfortable running in a pack. And I think that's the drivers you'll see kind of like maybe pushing a little bit forward or on the back bumper or somebody trying to get things done. Tommy Ryan down there on the inside of Jeff Ryan just fall back there to third, though, as the top line had a little bit of momentum. But the 34 comes down in front of the 66 to go 1-2 on the inside, and that leaves Coleman in a Kit Kat machine looking to get a good finish here tonight. We've seen him up front for quite some time, you know, each and every week, and he's there. Tonight could be the night. It looks like he put in a pretty good time, and running up front right now, so we'll see what happens, and if that 38's got some friends out here.
Let's see the 30 right behind him there. Randy Yoakum still waiting to kick off his rookie banner and join one of the divisions out here. But a good start here for Randy Yoakum. Give a little shot there to Chad Coleman to try and push him up there, get to the front. Jeff Ryan, last season's silver division champion, you know, joining his brother there of Tommy Ryan at the front of this field. Tommy was last year's platinum points champion, so the champions up front here working together, and we'll see if they got the right moves at the right time. Plenty of teammates out there. We got, you know, the UNOH drivers, I'm sure gonna find each other and run together at some point. We got quite a few of the Simrat Market drivers as well. You see Alan Elwood there on the inside. You got AJ Roderick, Danny Ware up there as well. But you know, you got some if you want to call the old heads here in CORE. We'll see, you know, if maybe Paul Butler or Kevin Foster can hook up together, or even I've seen Kevin Foster working with Dave Tilford here a little bit in the race. You got Ricky Renner, and then you have Courtney Nickerson, Nathan Nickerson, and I believe there's Michael Schwartz out there as well from the simraces.com. The sponsors here for the series. We'll see if they have anything to say, you know, working together as teammates. But plenty of different ways to handle this thing, and it looks like we got a bit of an incident. It's going to turn into a bit of a big one here. Some cars going all over the place. I seen it looked like maybe James Hislop earlier involved in that one, so we'll see if that is kind of what started this thing. Maybe not the big one quite yet at Daytona, but quite a few drivers end up with a black flag on this one, having to go through pit road. So we'll take a look at the start of this thing, and it looks like a bit of a bunch up on the outside. Skozen gets sent down.
A shot from the 30 though, like a pusher pushing a pusher, and kind of accordion back, and people checking up, and you know, little taps at 200 miles an hour. Doesn't turn out very well.
Now you see Dan Phelps trying to gather back together, and maybe some netco contact there with Paul Butler, but you see the 8 into the back of the 3. And
nowhere for Tilford.
Yeah, nowhere for, unfortunately, a lot of drivers to go here. Good job of avoidance by a lot of the drivers. I will say that. It looks like the 11 and the 00 get together a little bit. 43 gets entangled, and that one just a little bit. So a few cars walking away with some damage, maybe not, you know, catastrophic damage. But the problem is, Jimmy, any damage here at Daytona kind of needs to be fixed. You need that car nice and pristine, at least enough to keep yourself in the draft in the beginning of this race. Maybe save that fast repair till later on in the race, since we're only on lap number 5. But you got to be good enough to stay with that draft.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of damage. You know, as long as you have all the horses underneath the hood, you can usually tuck up underneath somebody if you got a little bit of damage, maybe a little rear damage or a little front end damage. But you can't get out in that open air. You get out in that open air, it's like a dank parachute, and you do get some time to kind of get it fixed. So if you think the damage is light, maybe some of the drivers around each other would be like, "Hey, I got a little bit. What kind of damage do I got?" And some, you know, some are truthful. Some would be like, you might as well just call it a night, bro. But you know, most drivers are pretty like, it looks okay. Maybe you got 20 or 30 seconds, you know, bumper or whatever, and you know, they'll go in and they'll make that decision, and you know, go inside and see how much repairs they can take. You can pretty much get like almost a full minute of repairs, you know, each lap. You know, if you stay in there too long where the field comes all the way around, you know, it's a tough one. But you can see a lot of drivers coming down, pretty much the whole field, with the exception of a couple. So, I mean, that would even make it longer that everybody could sit in the pits, you know, a couple more, you know, like 10 seconds or so. But pace car is still going, so I mean, eventually going to need to come out anyway. So everybody's in for some gas, and I know it's only 7 laps. But the drivers kind of sneaking to the front there. You got Courtney Nickerson and Stephen Harris going to get moved to the front easily without having to make any passes. But you got to be careful doing that, or you know, these two, they'll be put together, and a 2-man team doesn't quite cut the mustard out here when it happens. So we'll see how they make out here in the number 469 and the 134. See if they can. Allude to being by themselves when that green flag pit stop has to happen, because I still think they can't go the whole way. I think the fuel, if I'm not mistaken, Carl, I think it's around like 20-ish laps. So you know, maybe at least one more stop. So this here, you know, the 469 and the 134 would have to obviously make 2. So. Yeah, I think the caution comes out and for their sake.
I think unless you're doing some major saving, even in the draft, you're probably still looking at 2 pit stops here, because 2.5 miles, you're saving a lap here is quite a bit. So we'll see how it plays. I think everybody's still on a 2-stop strategy, but yeah, Courtney Nickerson, Stephen Harris decided to stay out here, so as long as they don't come in this time by and make pit stops to go to the back of the field. Courtney Nickerson has led every single oval race she's been in. So this is her first debut here in the CORE Xfinity Series, presented by SimRaces.com.
I mean, boards, or how you show the boards.
Just undefeated. I mean, she just finds her way to the front. What can you say? But Nickerson is going to stay out here. Pace car lights should be out. We're going to double them up here, get this thing back underway, and it's going to be Courtney Nickerson channeling her early on, I guess, Danica Patrick. I know Danica Patrick was, I think, the first female to ever get the pole at Daytona and lead a lap well here. Courtney Nickerson, I don't know if she's the first female to get any lead here in CORE, but certainly, you know, getting some laps led here on her debut. Definitely a good start here. We'll see how both Nickerson and Harris, both starting towards the back of this pack, how they're going to handle the restart here. You got the Rhines on row number 2 right behind them, and then you got Jack Stoneman, Alan Elwood right there in 4 and 5. But I mean 5 and 6. This is where it starts to get interesting. You also have those drivers towards the back of the pack that need to come in for their black flag, so you'll see them peel off possibly right away here. I forget if they can come in right away or if they have to go on around for a lap, but some of those drivers, you got James Turnbull, trying to see who it is, Michael Schwartz, John Williams, looks like Jonathan Schwartz and Troy Snyder, all with black flags here. So 5 of them. I guess it's a good thing, Jimmy, because you're coming in as a pack to serve your black flags, so at least you can come out there with some drafting partners and just hope for that caution to come out to get you back up caught with the field. But either way, we'll get this thing rolling here once again, and it's going to be plenty of racing yet to go. Still about 45 plus laps once we get this thing back underway. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything that's here and has to offer. But we're ready to get this thing rolling here once again under the lights at Daytona.
Yeah, underneath the lights here at Daytona one more time. But pace car is out here, so first a caution of the race, but the pace car is going to peel off, go down into pit road as Courtney will lead the field down across the finish line to restart this thing.
A bit of a jumble up on the inside there, and not sure if Nickerson got a good launch there. Maybe missed a gear as they're starting to bobble around there, trying to get back going here. It's going to be Stephen Harris out front here as they're going 3 wide back in the back here in the back half of the top 10 to kind of work their way around. You got Van West on the outside, Stoneman in the middle, and Tommy Ryan on the inside there. Everyone gets away, we get this thing going, but that's what can happen, you know, when you don't have that much experience with the start of this thing, and not even sure if pretty sure this is her first time leading in any CORE event. You know, obviously we mentioned races over there in the CORE GT Series, but there's no restarts over there. So this is her first restart as leader, and maybe not knowing the restart procedure 100% as well. But Stephen Harris going to lead on that gear.
Like in the wrong gear.
Yeah, it did seem like she was really slow to start.
She was just like really slow to kind of like wind up, you know, and kind of bunched up the inside. But the driver's paying attention down on the inside lane, and that's what you kind of got to realize. Look at the lineup when you're at these restarts and who's up front. And it's nothing against anybody. We know everybody eventually will get up there at some point to start an event, but who's in front of you and how much experience they have. Our field here at CORE is spread really wide, from platinum all the way down to bronze, and there's platinum, gold, silver, and bronze, and a few drivers still to find their way in the rookie series. So there's a big spread. We got some 3 wide action here as they cross the start finish line. A little early for that, boys. Let's slow it down here and get back in the finals.
And even the 2 wide up front was getting a little spicy, but yeah, we're still going 3 wide here in the back turn, both through the middle here. Looks like Danny Ware going to make it up through the middle, but crosses over in front of Jack Stoneman, and that's going to be another caution out here on the speedway. It looks like Hislop unfortunately gets tagged on that one again. A few more cars going sideways, and looks like quite a few getting caught up in this one. Josh Van Westen, you see the nose end of that car go straight up in the air, almost flip that thing over. He's going to walk away with a meatball on this one, as is James Hislop, Jack Stoneman, Chad Coleman. They're going to have to tow it back to pit lane, as it's going to bring out our second caution. We'll take a look and see what happened on this one. It looks like Jack Stoneman coming down the track here a little bit and actually hooking the 35. Maybe trying to get down behind him. Got down there a little bit too early. That's going to cause this melee, but you see it right there for Josh Van Westen doing a wheelie on the backstretch. Not exactly what you want to be doing here in any vehicle, even if you're here in the super super bikes.
Coleman was like way down and like way off the apron, and poor Coleman and the 10 get together, and Coleman goes flying to the inside wall. That's just. Oh, that's horrible. He was like off the. If you check Coleman out, he was like, that's where he wrecked. But he was like 4 or 5 cars down the infield, down that backstretch. Watch, he sees. I think he sees it coming, right there. And look at, he goes way down, way down, way down. That is just crap. Look, I mean, come on. Give the guy
the man
a break.
looking for a break.
Exactly.
The man looking for a break all season.
Oh my
just
goodness.
could not catch it right now, and unfortunately has to tow back to pit lane, along with Jack Stoneman. And quite a few cars need to get fixed up on that one. Looks like Van Westen's still out there.
That's horrible.
James Turnbull still has to serve his penalty as well. So I think he's the last one that had those early black flags that he still has to come in and serve. But all the other ones that came in with Michael Schwartz, John Williams Sr., Jonathan Schwartz, Troy Snyder, they all served their penalties, so they're good to go now. And now we'll see some more pit stops as Alan Elwood going to lead him down into the pits. Looks like Courtney Nickerson try her luck again. Maybe try a different gear this time on the restart. Going to stay out there and try and lead this thing one more time. Luis Arduna,
why not, right?
Also going to stay out in the 3, and that'll be your new front 2. Looks like Chris Hayes in the 180 going to stay out there. James Hislop looked like he was damaged again in that one, but he is going to stay out as well. Some cars coming out of the pits already, so we'll see everything shuffles in there. But it'll be Courtney Nickerson back at the front again. Hopefully this time she's got the right gear and she knows that she can go as soon as she gets into that restart zone. But either way, we are already 13 laps into this race. I know we've seen a couple cautions here so far, but even under caution, 55 laps can tick by pretty quickly here.
Yeah, they can tick by pretty quickly, as obviously as we're up here kind of playing hardball with the drivers, trying to scrutinizing every move they make, and why aren't you going to pits? They all have. I mean, each driver's in control of their car, and they can do what they wish. Obviously, we're in a booth. We try to make it interesting here. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know, Carl, it's Daytona, and there's so many strategies out there. You're seeing people come in, you're seeing people stay out, but maybe just staying out to get some experience out front. Maybe they got a number in mind that they want to come in. Maybe they're trying to see how much fuel they can save for future events. There's all kinds of things that you can do out here and learn. 55 laps. It's not all green. They're typically not all green at a super speedway. I haven't seen a full green flag super speedway event in quite some time, and they're few and far between. There's at least one, and most of the times there's like 2 or 3, but 2 already here tonight. I'll make that. Was it 3? This is 3.
This is number 2. This is number 2 here.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, actually, I think it might have even been last season, the season before, we had a green to checkered race at either Daytona or Talladega. It was kind of one of those, not uncommon that we're left scratching our heads like, did that really happen? Did we really just see that? But yeah, looked like that's what happened. It looks like Courtney Nickerson is going to relinquish the lead, heads into the pits, but unfortunately, pit roads were closed for her, so she's going to come in, get the fuel that she needs, going to rejoin the back of the pack, but she's going to have to come in and serve a penalty. But maybe with a chance to come in there with her. I think Danny Ware is another one that has a black flag. Joyce Snyder looks like has been DQ'd from this race. Not sure what exactly happened for the 453, but he is out for this race. So we got those 2 with a black flag, and then also James Turnbull still has yet to serve his black flag as well. So on the front row now, it's going to be Louise Arduna going to control this thing, and certainly Louise would like to have a good finish here as the bronze championship very tight right now. And this is the chance and the nights where some of the lower divisions, the bronzes, the silvers, they kind of have their chance, but is still, again, need to find a way to get through those first 50 and then kind of then start to think about the race in the last 5 laps. So hopefully it settles down here a little bit on this restart, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's under the lights here, and you never know how this thing's going to happen. I mean, we got a few nights here until I believe is it Friday the 13th this week? I believe it is. Yeah, so yeah, so we'll see how it plays out, but it looks like
yes.
Yeah. So,
it is.
It looks like we're gonna have one more lap of caution.
And Valentine's Day.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because I was wondering why my kids didn't have their Valentine's dance this Friday. I thought, well, maybe they're scared of having it on Friday the 13th for whatever reason. But either way, looks like we're gonna have one more lap of caution. I'm guessing to get the drivers in the correct order. We have some drivers that look like they had to slide towards the back of the pack, so it's gonna go green at this next time by. Again, it's Louise Arduna, Chris Hayes on the front row, and you got Alan Elwood, Kevin Foster back out in action here tonight and doing good here, starting out there in the outside of the second row. Randy Yoakum, Tyler Scozen on row 3. Row 4 is going to be Dave Tilford, Jeff Ryan, and then row 5 is going to be AJ Roderick and Ricky Renner. So a little mix of everything. I mean, we got platinum drivers up there, we got gold drivers, we got the one silver driver, Ricky Renner, we got the bronze driver and Louise Arduna at the front. We got Chris Hayes blinking in and out, which is definitely not what you want to be doing here as the rookie driver on that front row. But looks like hopefully is settled in. Daytona is not exactly friendly a lot of times with with anybody's system. Doesn't matter if you have a great system or not. It sometimes can get a little bit fuzzy.
Yeah, a little bit fuzzy. You have some we'll call them green drivers to the front of the field here. Louise Arduna and Chris Hayes. Obviously, I think, a little bit newer. I don't know if they're newer to the service or not, but do a lot of. I'm sure they do a lot of league racing. I know Louise Arduna's been with us for a while, but iRating is not easy to get in the officials. They're pretty rough, and it goes along with the safety rating too. But yeah, their iRating equals a whopping like not even 1,600. So and you got Alan Elwood back there with almost 5 Okay, so yeah, a little bit of experience difference up front. We're going to see if we can get these two drivers going here when they need to go. The green flag is in the air, and down it goes as Luis Ordino will get on the loud pedal. Get a nice shove there by Alan Elwood, and taking it probably pretty easy, knowing that you can't get a huge run here at Daytona, or you'll end up just getting ran over. But they do get up to a pretty large kind of shot out of there coming off the start finish line.
Yeah, the rest of the field now starting to already reel them back in, as the back of the field kind of spread out here a little bit, but already on to the backstretch, and it is Luis Orduna getting pushed by Alan Elwood. Words that you don't expect to hear that often, but it's things that you sometimes see here at Daytona. A platinum driver pushing a bronze driver here, because early on in this race, you can have anybody as your friend. You can work with anybody out there. Now you see Alan Elwood moves to the outside. He's got one of his teammates in AJ Roderick coming up there on the outside. But on the inside, the breakaway for the three on the inside, you got Luis Orduna, Randy Yoakum, and now Dave Topher there. But now you see the rest of the field saying, I want to play up here too.
Yeah, obviously when you're up there, you got Luis Orduna next to Alan Elwood. It's, bronze and platinum, two major, skill levels. Here at Daytona, you can see why everybody pretty much has a chance to win. That draft is so strong. But you see what Luis Orduna doing the right thing. He's going to hold his line. The 5 and the 56 get together, get around, just come down to the bottom. And, if Luis is smart, he's just going to hang out there. He's going to keep that nice, tight kind of distance right behind the 56. Don't, get underneath in that bumper and push. Just keep modulating that throttle to keep it down on the yellow line. Just follow them around. You can learn a lot, especially from some of these faster drivers or teammates that work together a lot. And he can find himself in a good position, especially if he makes the right decisions here tonight. Right now, currently running in third place. Right now, you have Alan Elwood out front with AJ Roderick, Luis Orduna, Randy Yoakum up there in the top 5, along with Tyler Scoden, and then Zane Beaver, Dave Tilford, Ricky Renner, Steve Harris, and Chris Hayes for your top 10. As that can change at any minute, as we are too wide for pretty much the entire field.
Yeah, and if I'm Luis Orduna, I'm on the radio letting my crew chief listen, talk to somebody over there in the Simrat market camp and tell them I will be an honorary member here tonight. Just don't leave me hanging. let me just put a tow rope to the back bumper here of AJ Roderick. I'm not going to push him. I just want to stay here. I just want to ride along here, because if a bronze driver gets up here and gets a top 5, that's a not a career night, but it's a big points haul, because even though they're in different divisions, every position is different points. So whether you are in platinum, gold, bronze, doesn't matter. First place pays the same amount of points, and it's not broken up per division. It's straight up, first through 39 here tonight are the points that are paid out. So if you finish 5th and the next closest bronze driver finishes in 20th, it's a huge difference. But we got a big wreck here in the back again. A few cars sliding through the pits, a few more that are going to get some black flags. And we'll see. Looks like Matt Crockett already some major damage. He's going to bring it right into the pits the way it looks. But we'll take a look back and see what brought this one on. It's a 3-wide racing here again. And it looks like the 29 there getting into the back of 199.
Oh, look at that neck cut off the 38.
And once again,
what is this?
Chad Coleman just cannot catch a break.
They were hooked together at the back bumpers. they spun. Just watch the neck cut off this 38. It is crazy. They come down, they're wrecking in front. Obviously somebody bounced off the wall down into the 199. That kind of got things in motion. Everybody's taking evasive action. You're heading down towards pit lane, just trying to do the right thing, but the 10 gets snagged there, right down to the 38. Watch this net code. Both ways, sends back Crockett here, and they go slide in the grass, and then these cars almost marry up Matt Crockett's going to spin all the way around, and then it almost latches them together as they spin around and do a do-si-do here at Daytona.
I mean, I don't think there's.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything synchronized in the Winter Olympics. I know certainly in the Summer Olympics you have the synchronized swimming, but I don't think there's any synchronized skiing or anything like that. But they're certainly sending their name out there for the 2028 Summer Olympics, and maybe want to throw their hat in the ring. But unfortunately, it's just a rough one for quite a few drivers. And after that one, it looks like while we still were running out there, looked like James Turnbull had a disqualification also for not serving the black flag. But we had looks like Paul Butler going through pit road there, trying to avoid the incident. He's going to have a black flag. Courtney Nelson with a black flag, and then both Chad Coleman and Matt Crockett are synchronized spinners there. Going to also have black flags on that one. But it seems like tonight you want to be at the front of the field. I know we've seen before that some drivers prefer the front, some don't mind the middle, some like to just drop down to the bottom and run at the back. Here tonight, it looks like you want to be out front because that middle of the pack, those three wide, it's a little too early. I mean, we're not even halfway through this thing. We're already seeing a lot of three wide, and right there, it was just not too good.
You can all pretend you're down, you're just hanging out, and Atlantis, I could say down. What is it? Down in Atlanta, the highway down there, but those are like 6 wide down there around the city. They're kind of crazy. I don't recommend driving in Atlanta unless you live there, and especially if you don't like highway traffic. That is, I know Carl, you live up there by the turnpike, and Atlanta has
it's the same. It's the same coming through. I think that down there by Tampa, I think it's there's like a 6 or 8 lane highway there. Only reason I remember that is because I was at that point, I think 60 or no, was it? I think about probably about like 15 or 16 hours into my drive down there, and was not exactly too awake, and probably not the best highway to be not fully awake on when you got 5 or 6 other lanes that you're worried about. But yeah, a couple slaps to the face, roll the window open, crank some music up loud, and get that fifth wind at that point to get me back going again. But either way, we're gonna get this thing back going. Alan Elwood, Tyler Skosen on the front row. Then we got Zane Behrman making his presence up here at the front. Going to be starting out there in 4th. It's going to be AJ Roderick on the inside. So perfect scenario for the Simrat Market Boys on the inside. Then you got Dave Tilford and Stephen Harris hanging back up there once again. He restarted up there in the front earlier with Courtney Nickerson, but now up there again with the 134. So you've seen a lot of green in that top 10, Jimmy. Everybody is up a minimum 4 spots, but we got Stephen Harris up 24. We got Ricky Renner up 21. Dalton Drummond's up 15. A lot of big movers here, but it's Daytona. Those things are going to shift quite a bit, and you'd almost like to see like the graph of the drivers for the race, and just how up and down it. We're talking about stock market changes. That's kind of how Daytona is.
You ain't lying. Stock market can go up and down, and I think that obviously the lineup here at Daytona can go up and down just as quick, especially with them green numbers, red numbers that we see. And but yeah, a lot of the big movers kind of be taking advantage, maybe getting around incidents, maybe just a little better awareness, or just a little bit luck on their side too, to get away with some stuff. We see Dave Tilford in some close ones, but some of them junior drivers, Orduna and Harris, kind of up towards the front, kind of away from that action, and find themselves with still pretty good clean cars, and still a lot of good drivers hanging out in the back. You got Kevin Foster, you got Tommy Ryan's back there. We've seen Dan Phelps run up front at these super speedways. I know Schwartz would love to get up there. I know he's one of the few drivers on kind of some paper thin ice around him, but he can still get a good finish here. Just has to be patient, and like you said, it's early. We're not even at the halfway mark as we just start lap number 23 of 55 with Alan Elwood now out front with AJ Roderick.
up on board here with a couple different drivers and show you their moves. You've seen Kevin Foster making a bit of a move there to get down behind Jack Stoneman. And you see what you can see when you're behind another car. Nothing. All you see is the back of that car. So especially here at night. In the day, you get maybe a glimpse of the car in front of you. And you see it a little bit better, certainly in the corners. But when you're on the backstretch here, especially at night at Daytona, you cannot see really anything except that car that is directly in front of you. You see the spoiler, and that's about it. As we got just a ton of passing. I see SDK going crazy. It's just from passing. I thought maybe we had another incident back there, but now Courtney Nelson, Paul Butler, Chad Coleman all coming in to serve their penalties, as is Matt Crockett. But we're back underway, and we'll show the paint scheme there for Mike Casey, as mentioned. I'd like to see Zane Bierman's nice new paint scheme on the outside there, and repping the 191 Motorsports colors. He's on the outside of the Ford Dalton drums there. You see going through the banking of the corner, and definitely a good looking paint scheme on the number 69.
Yeah, Zane's always rocking those brighter colors these days. You're trying to stick out. He's in so many series. Just to see Zane's name, almost odd not to. Another driver that he reminds me of is John Crane. Now the 16 was a long time the 11, so it's sometimes hard to remember he's out there with the Greg Biffle machine right now. But John has, I know I've mentioned this before, I think he has the most races raced in core alone, and Tower by quite a few. So John loves to get out there and race. He's got some great finishes. He's got some bronze championships underneath his belt. He was always around me when I was in the development series. I think that's almost working on 6 years now, but it's been a while, just to kind of see the same people that kind of came up with. I think John is one of the remaining ones. I'm trying to think, because Mark Thomas is no longer around, and Derek Sherman's in and out. I mean, I still race with Derek for the special events, but very few people still here from when I started CORE.
Once again, I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in tonight to the CORE Xfinity Series presented by simraces.com. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything that's here and has to offer. Kind of funny that I hit the exciting camera to show you where the most excitement is. And unfortunately for James Hislop, it keyed on him. He's been involved in a couple of the incidents here tonight, but he's got that 92 rolling here again, looking to try and make his way up to the front here once again, up into the top 10. Paul Butler rejoining the field, and maybe that's why the camera just knew that something was going to happen with the 92. Unfortunately, James Hislop involved in another one here.
Almost on the outside, don't let the cars go by, because he'd only be up front, and that happened right in front of him. Oh my goodness.
And that is going to be a meatball for James Hislop. I believe that's his second one, maybe done for the night. Looks like Robert Matthews and Paul Butler going to walk away with meatballs on this one. So another pretty big one. We'll take a look back and see how this one started. It looks like Joe Sullivan into the back quarter of the 92. Kind of just peeking three wide, ends up hooking the 119 there. Robert Matthews, hard impact to the outside, and you have Paul Butler. Welcome back to the track, and unfortunately going to need some repairs. Hopefully he's got a fast repair left on that 77, but you see quite a bit of a build up here of cars, and we'll try and see where the blimp cam is, and you see all the cars getting involved. The 30 there getting in the back of the 49. Pretty hard impact there at the end of this thing. Jeremy Gainey, a little bit of a brush, but sneaks through there at the last second, and is maybe going to escape this one. But escaping Daytona is kind of what we're looking to do here at this point, as there's been quite a few cautions here, and a lot of it, from three wide, or maybe peeking three wide. Not sure if Joe Sullivan was planning to go three wide there or not, but just kind of perfect connection there, unfortunately, with the back of the 92 of Hislop, and sends him around and gets involved in this incident. We are past the halfway point now, and we'll see if these drivers decide to come back in the pits. But I mean, still plenty of racing yet to go here at Daytona, and still, in my opinion, I know you share this opinion, Jimmy, it's still not anywhere close to go time.
It's not. They're on lap 28. I mean, you have 27 laps still to go. I mean, the race is only half over. We've had six cautions, and the drivers continue to come down pit lane and top off that fuel, and they gotta be, getting closer and closer where this is either the last one or they still need one, but they don't want to be that car that has to stay in the pits any longer than they need to when they're trying to partner up with people. So in and out some gas and go by the 5. It does look like the 55 is able to do the same. So the Platinum drivers getting in and out here. And then you got AJ Roderick, Thomas, and the 218 Tilford up there in the top 5. Then you got Drummond's, Bierman, Renner, Van West, and Foster for your top 10 currently as they come back out of the pits. So yeah, a lot of things going on, Carl, but with the cautions, it's kind of helping some of the drivers that are still out on the track to kind of maybe get back up on that lead lap, catch that lucky dog, and take a minute to stay out of trouble. And right now, there's some sort of strategy that has to be going on through some of these drivers to get through the remainder of this race, to get to the go time window. Maybe right now they're just kind of, they care, but they don't care because, each caution just gets them that much closer to not having to have that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, still, maybe now, maybe you're getting close because you mentioned, about 20 laps for the, the run to the end here. But I still think they're looking at least a splash to go from here. And the way these cautions have been flying, I don't think this is going to be the last one, unfortunately, here tonight. So hopefully they clean up because, again, next week we got another Super Speedway-ish race at Echo Park coming up next week. So it can certainly get a little bit rough there as well because you're running just flat out. You can do some bump drafting there as well, but the track is a mile shorter and about a lane or two, maybe a lane skinnier. It's kind of, I don't know. I mean, you look at Daytona here, and you can fit 3 wide. You can fit 3 wide at Echo Park, and I think it's just relatively because it looks like you're going so much faster at Echo Park. It seems skinnier, width-wise, but I'd like to see, what the dimensions are to see if it's actually skinnier. I know Talladega is it's as the same size as Daytona, obviously, but it's wider. I mean, you can fit 4 wide there at Talladega and, feel about the same as you would here with 3 wide at Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tracks just has to deal with the way they come around, and I think that the Echo Park, Atlanta, whatever you want to call it these days, I'm pretty sure, I believe that, it's just the kind of way when you come off of 4, they kind of got that front stretch. It's sort of like Daytona, but even when you come down Daytona, down off of 4, that area, that quad oval area, it just seems like it gets really small. And I know a lot of drivers are battling down through that area and going down the apron, whatever it may be, trying to get the lead. And it's just challenging. It's so fast. It is a smaller track. That track does actually eat tires just a little bit more. I mean, not as bad as like Dover or somewhere, but tires do kind of matter a little bit more there at Atlanta. So drivers have to pay a little more attention. There's a little more lifting as well, but draft a huge factor there, just like it is here tonight. But yeah, plenty of laps remaining. Still got 25 laps to go. We're on lap number 30 of 55. So drivers just need to kind of chill, calm down, maybe find themselves a happy place and get there and just kind of ride and get some of these laps out of the way. Find your partner, find out when you're in a pit, find out what your fuel strategy is, and start going from there. Because right now, caution after caution after caution is going to lead to a lot of independent drivers fighting for the end. The team's things doesn't work very well, or it doesn't have to work with that type of racing. So we're getting back ready to go green. Pace car's in as Alan Elwood is on the Alpo.
It's racing here at Daytona, and we've got 25 laps to go here at the 2.5 mile Super Speedway. And it's been a little rough here for the first half of this race, and a lot of it just a little bit too racy, I think, with some of the drivers getting into some 3-wide incidents and just not given enough room. There's not a lot of room to be given here at Daytona in the first place, but when you go 3-wide this early, especially with a lot of these drivers, maybe not knowing how they race around each other to begin with, it can get a little sketchy and a little hairy, and that's what we've seen here a couple times now. But hopefully we get a green flag running here. Hopefully I'd like to see some at least one round of green flag pit stops, which we still would see if this thing goes green to the end. But I mean, you can see him already dancing and diving and looking maybe to try and go 3-wide again, because the problem with cautions, reading cautions, is it gets drivers a little bit more on edge, and that breeds even more cautions. So it can get even rougher out there as everything goes on. But hopefully they got all those out of the way, and now we see some green flag racing.
On the backstretch here as they work their way around the track, and up around, was it 45 seconds? We've had a couple green flag laps. I can check the history here. Yeah, it looks like their best lap was 47 seconds. Right now, it's what they're on pace to do, and we should see some of those good ones. Last lap was 53 seconds. So, I don't know if anybody's. Oh no! There's another one.
And that is another big one, and a lot of cars going to get a black flag with that one as well, sliding through pit road, and going to bring out another caution here on the speedway. Unfortunately,
Zane.
Cameras underneath the garages there on the infield as we were trying a different drone cam there, but we'll take a look and see what brought this one out here. It looked like maybe a bump from the 4 of Dalton Drummond's on Zane Bierman, and then as Zane came back down, that's how he ended up collecting Ricky Renner, and unfortunately I think quite a bit of the rest of the field here.
Jeff Ryan, Tabby Ryan, Schwartz make it through. It looks like Schwartz is going to make it through. Levin's going for a ride. Jack Stone was like, nope.
I'll take a look at this one more time from the view of Tommy Ryan. Looks like he maybe survived this thing a little bit better, at least than some of the others, but it happened directly in front of him. You hear him already on the brakes. Maybe a little touch there with a couple of them. But you can see how quickly things go from good and fast to bad. And it's going to bring us under another caution here. And this could get us now very close and possibly in the fuel window to make it to the end. So we may not see any green flag pit stops here tonight, which I'm sure there's one man that doesn't mind that at all. That's man in second, AJ Roderick. I'm sure he doesn't mind us at all. He certainly.
AJ comes and goes. I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, AJ Roderick, the one season he had, as long as he didn't have to pit under green, he won. So he had a great season that year, and it's good to see him back out here. I know he likes to run the super speedways, but I know we always teased him about his inability to have good pit stops.
Well, should see everyone come down here on this pit stop unless they're trying to get back on the lead lap. Because one thing this is doing for a lot of those drivers that are down a lap, able to get back on the lead lap, like Chad Coleman, he's certainly not exactly had a great night in the 38 here tonight. But now I believe he is going to finally get himself back up on the lead lap. He was down at least 2, I think, maybe even 3 laps at one point. But he is going to stay out there, and there it is. He gets the lucky dogs to be back on the lead lap, and it'll give us looks like maybe 28, because Chris Hayes is going to stay out there as well. Luis Orduna electing to stay out and not come in the pits. He's got a black flag, so he's going to have to come and serve it, but maybe want to stay out there and get a lap led for the 3 car. But Alan Elwood is going to get down and out before anybody else. AJ Roderick right behind him there. And they're going to have to start on different rows this time, so we'll see if they can hook up together here pretty quickly. That's how this goes into the fourth. Josh Van Westen, Dave Toford, Kevin Foster, Zayden Bierman, John Williams Sr., and Jonathan Schwartz for your top 10. Schwartz could not qualify here tonight, but I mean, if there's ever a place that you don't need to qualify, it's here. So I guess if you're going to have to serve a no qualifying penalty, sure, I'll take it at Daytona. That works. So he started back there, damn near shotgun on the field. I mean, back there in 36th position, now inside the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, and he's one of the drivers. He has to play it safe. We're make him be a little careful, and just so he can continue to race each and every week, you know. And he's fast. He has pace. And if I can critique John, and if he goes back there and listens, is that it's just his pace when he chooses to make some of his moves. It's just a little bit of patience, or kind of be aware of like who you're putting the move on, because there's a difference from putting your bumper against Alan Elwood and then a bumper against, say, someone like
another bronze driver or something like that. Yeah,
another one, a bronze driver. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge difference, where and where you can spin somebody real easy, and then that becomes your fault because you're the one who made contact with the back of the car. Where Alan might make you spin for touching his back bumper. It's just a difference, and it's that being out there and being in races with everybody, you learn that stuff eventually. But some of these bronze drivers that are in the back, some of them, to be honest, Carl, I know it's virtual, but some of them, run scared a little bit. You're in a situation and just don't feel comfortable when you're running in VR or in triples and you're surrounded by cars and you're going 190 almost 200 miles an hour. You just don't feel the most comfortable, and you don't want to wreck or ruin anybody's race, and then you make a small mistake, and because, well, it's at 200 miles an hour, it's not a little mistake. It usually ends up pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Dover, where Dover's a self-cleaning track and everything kind of slides down to the bottom because of the banking. Here, even though there's a ton of banking in the corners, you're at such high speeds that the track doesn't have that much time to get you down to the bottom of the track, and all the other cars are coming at you at 180 plus, so it collects everybody very quickly here. And unfortunately, we've seen a few big ones here tonight involving 5+ cars, but we still have plenty out there racing, and I believe we still have, trying to see who's still out there in the field. And we got a few retirees, but it looks like we still got 32 cars still running in this field. So we'll see who can make it to the end and who can survive. I know Bristol's the last great Coliseum, but here tonight, gloves have been off here quite a bit.
Yeah, they've been off from the start, and it's just one of those ones that he's been fighting the whole race. I mean, what are you going to do? You got still have 19 laps, so there's going to be a lot of black and blue eyes around here tonight.
Certainly some black and blue cars.
Black flags.
Yeah, black and blue cars for sure.
Flags. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right now the drivers that need to serve black flags.
Drummond's,
Yep.
Right, where, and the thing is, they
you have to serve it under green. Is the problem? Like, you can't come in now and serve it
under green. You can't, and then like I just got the chat. I'm not running the race like you are tonight, so I got the chat kind of up on the side here, and I've seen people asking to clear black flags. CORE does not clear black flags. That is it's a rarity, and it's just because we don't have a race control. We don't have a dedicated race control. iRacing usually does all of it, and for the most part, iRacing gets it done the way it needs to get done. So, but at the times of wrecks and people drive down through the pits to avoid it. I mean, that stuff like that. A race control, somebody watching that can take care of that stuff. But yeah, we don't have race control, like a physical race control to be watching all that stuff to be, when somebody's like, clear my black flag, and I'm like, for what? And then you have to go back and check.
That's the thing too. Even if you have a dedicated race admin, you're still going on merit, because there's nothing that we've seen out there, software-wise, that tells you why somebody has a black flag. It should be something so simple. I mean, if you're in the car and you have a black flag, it tells you, you know, speeding in pit road or unsafe entry or, you know, whatever the you know, passing under yellow, anything. It tells you what the black flag is. But there's no race admin, race control type of program that tells you immediately, you know, during that time, like right now, why this driver has a black flag. And it's crap, if you ask me, that it makes no sense that it's not out there, because that would be very nice. And you'd love to be able to take drivers on their merit, but, you know, fool me once, shame on you. And unfortunately, you can only get fooled one too many times here, that you don't trust any of the drivers out there. And you know, one person's craps in the punch bowl and it screws it up for everybody. But we're back to racing here. Hopefully we can get some green flag running in here before the end of this thing, because we are down under 20 laps to go now. We are down to, trying to do some math here, 18 laps left in this race. Elwood, Roderick locked up here once again at the front. Skozen in third. Talked about him a little bit here in the race, and he Babe Ruthed it here tonight. He called his shot and said, keep an eye on the number 8 here tonight. He's looking for a victory. Missed last week's race, but he's looking to get back out here and get some victory today, and that's the 8 of Kevin Foster.
Yeah, Kevin has his, you know, obviously has his days. He's had quite a few wins here at CORE, great finishes, done some of the, you know, brought things to light that you could get away with that weren't in our rule books. But it does look, I just seen a bunch of
all the black flag drivers. All the black flag drivers.
I mean, if anything, at least there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's 8 of them. That's a heck of a chain to get together. They can get out. They could stay on the lead lap if but depending on how long their black flag is. It's not just a drive to, it is a serve. So they're still in there. Still sitting there. They might go a lap down. Yeah, they're gonna go a lap down. So unfortunately, those drivers down in the pits will go a lap down here under green, as I need to be served under green. And then, you know, you know, obviously you don't like to be in that situation. I don't even know why they got the black flag, like you said. You know, I got iRacing up. It doesn't say anything. I have iOverlay up. Doesn't say anything. Just says incident. And then you know, same thing with SDK. I got SDK up as well. SDK will at least say, you know, somebody passed such and such, or, you know, somebody left the pits, or somebody entered pit lane, but it doesn't say what type of incident it was. But those drivers are back out on the track. They're gonna have to hope for, you know, a caution, and then you know, unfortunately, get up there. There's some help, yeah, from those drivers not in top 21. But right now it is Alan Elwood, A.J. Roderick out front. Tyler goes in third with Dan Phelps making his way up there. Kevin Foster floating around as well. Boy, this thing's not far from over, as we're on lap 41 of 55.
How about the drivers on the outside? I know Kelly was out there earlier rooting on that Dan Phelps. He's now pushing on the outside and to try and get to the lead. He's got some help from behind from Joe Thomas out there, and one of the bronze drivers up there in the mix for the championship here halfway through the season. Fastest lap of the race for a few of the drivers out there, as we're coming up on some lap traffic. Hopefully they realize Dalton Drummond's there on the outside. They can make their way around him. You got Luis Orduna staying up there, staying wide as well, doing a good job. And I know it's always kind of questioned when you got lap cars coming up there, you know, where do you want them to be? And you know, sometimes you say, oh, well, you should be down there on the apron, you're going slow and everything like that, but that's not realistic. I mean, the line that they're running right now on the outside is, in my opinion, the correct line, because they should be too wide coming up to the lap car. You're not asking them to go one wide, you can still go too wide here underneath the lap car, and it gives them a chance to at least grab onto the draft. I mean, if they're down there on the apron, they're going to have to go so slow that there's no way they're going to be able to grab onto the draft, and they're going to eventually go down another lap. So I cannot absolutely blame them for being out there on the outside line 3 wide, trying to at least get a grab off of somebody. You see right there, these are doing a grab at the back of this pack right here, and so did Dalton Drummond's to at least stay up there in the mix. But at the front, it is Alan Elwood leading the way, A.J. Roderick right behind him, and then Tyler Skozen, Kevin Foster, and David Tilford there for your 5 on the inside. On the outside line, right now it is Dan Phelps, Joe Thomas, Jack Stoneman, and looks like Jonathan Schwartz on the outside, and then the 42 of John Williams Sr. coming up there as they're your front 5 on the outside. That's your top 10 currently. And we'll see how this thing plays out in the end. Who's got the right strategy, who's in the right spot as well, because we're getting a little bit closer now, getting a little bit closer to go time still. Probably about, I mean, in my opinion, 10 laps away yet from go time. But laps left in the race right now, we got 12 at the line.
12 measly little laps, right? And a lot of hard racing, and drivers are going to start, getting anxious. You'd always, when they start getting in that single digits, oh, I got 9 laps. I mean, 9 laps is a long time. It's still, good 20 miles out there. So you're really trying to work your way around this track and just kind of keep it going. Obviously, you're in a spot and you just don't like it, maybe you're starting to think, when should I go? Drivers up front aren't worried about it too much. Anybody, I'd say that top 6, they're probably like, especially the ones that third and fourth and fifth and sixth they're usually sitting in a pretty good spot, but they're gonna want to try to get up there. You see the cars bouncing around here a little bit as they cross the line to start number lap 45. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one here, Carl, with the miss there of this, maybe some lap traffic in there too, but Elwood trying to get yet another win here for 2026.
Yeah, he's once again been the driver to beat here week in and week out, as, coming into tonight's race, he has already amassed 3 wins out of the first 5 races, and really been a fantastic start to the season. Kelly Pointer winning the season opener, and then Tyler Skosen getting in there with a win himself. But it's been a fantastic start for Alan Elwood here once again, and looking to go back-to-back after winning last week at Kentucky. 2 weeks ago, it was Tyler Skosen taking the win at Auto Club. But it's just been a dream start for Elwood, taking 4 out of with including tonight 4 the first 6 pole positions of the season. But still have yet to decide who is going to win this thing here tonight. We're down to 10 laps to go. The drivers 2 by 2 for majority of the front of this field, and really looks like all the way back to about 15th position, or 14th position, all in this front group, and then a little bit of a gap back to Jeremy Gainey back there in 15th, kind of leading that second pack. But now 9 laps to go here at Daytona. Can they keep it green to the end?
They're doing good so far, and things are just about to start to heat up though, Carl. Obviously in that single-digit countdown to the end. And you're going to see people pushing a little bit harder, some people trying to get set up, maybe some people taking some faux runs to see what kind of positions or gains they can get on another car for one last time before these final laps really come back into play. They got about 3 or 4 laps before you're going to see a lot of jockeying around remaining, but right now Alan Elwood holding down the fort over Dan Phelps.
You see pretty much the entire field all grouped into one big group. Some lap cars mixed in to the bunch, but definitely a lot of cars in the mix here for the win at Daytona, which is what you want to see. You want to see a lot of cars here at the end still have fenders on and still trying to battle for this thing. And really the top 20 right now, all as everything just was wacky there for a second. There we go. Going to clean up as good timing, as looks like the 49 there of Matthew Simmons staying high to try and stay out of everybody's way. And they will make it past the lap car there, and Simmons going to try and grab onto the back of it. Elwood still leading the way on that inside. He's got his teammate right behind him with AJ Roderick. Will AJ stick with him the entire time all the way to the end and help his teammate get another win? Will AJ eventually try and pull out and maybe steal a win from the teammate there? And Phelps getting some help there from Joe Thomas on the outside. Will they be able to team up and gets one of them to the win here tonight. You got two of the two UNOH boys at the front as Alabama clicks out there for a second with Tyler Scozen and Jack Stoneman, but they're side by side right now, or at least close to being side by side. You got Kevin Foster up there in the front, and he's got Dave Topher right behind him. So with some of the the legendary or the seasoned core drivers here be able to get this thing done. I mean, hey, listen, they announced Jalen Hurts as a legendary Super Bowl quarterback, which of all the things that had me scratching my head for the Super Bowl, that kind of started off right there. So, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and call Kevin Foster and Dave Topher legendary. Dave Topher finally getting a taste of that victory lane recently in CORE. Certainly Kevin Foster no slouch to winning his races in CORE, and even a Premier Series champion for Kevin Foster. So certainly looking forward to getting back out there on the track on Sunday here once again, and getting to some racing action in the Premier Series. But back to the line this time by Jimmy. It's just about go time. We're 5 laps to go.
Yeah, now they're going to break that window there with 5 laps to go. You should start seeing some shuffling or looking for somebody not in the back to kind of peel out, somebody near the back. So that's where the patience lies on some of those drivers. You know, you should see the likes of, I would say, somewhere around Dave Topher, maybe the 199 and John Swartz. But John's been, I'll give it to John. He's been quiet tonight. Normally we see him make some pretty aggressive moves to get things done. But tonight, listening to maybe the broadcast a little bit, nice and calm pretty much all night, keeping his nose clean, finds himself in that top 10, waiting to pounce. Just has to be patient with his decision here tonight to keep him incident free and get rid of some of them points and not make his license so thin. But right now, doing a fantastic, awesome job up there, and right behind the 25 of Jack Stoneman, wanting to get another win. And you see the 218 and the 85. You know those two are going to work together here against the 5 and 56. And it's really not much anybody can do here at this point. Some people are going to have to, you're going to see people start jockeying around. It's just who can hold the cars tighter together, who can be the better pusher. The 218 is going to need to close in on that 95, or excuse me, that 85 just a little bit more, almost to the point of touching them. And maybe even giving him a shot coming off the corner to kind of lurch him forward and then scoot back up behind him and give another push and just kind of keep things going. 85 needs to kind of come down, and we haven't talked about it much, but the side draft, Carl. The cars get really close side by side, and that side draft can be a huge kind of slingshot here. And not quite in the position he wants to be right now, but with the nose in front of the 5. Basically, you want to be at that rear tire and kind of come down off that corner, and then you just get this huge suction of air, and it kind of slingshots you by. But you can see right here, the 56 just doing a fantastic job of putting that bumper to the back of the 5 and pushing them down here.
Oh,
we got an incident here as soon as Orduna hits the wall.
Yeah, seeing that Lewis Orduna into the wall. And we'll see who else was involved. See some other slow cars there as we were coming to the end here. It's 2 laps to go, so we're going to go into overtime here at Daytona. Take a look at this one more time. It looks like Stephen Harris into the outside wall and kind of bounced, obviously, Orduna trying to get down to the bottom to get away from him. But a little bit of a kiss right there sent Orduna down to the bottom. He tried to correct it and then came right across the front of Stephen Harris, and both of them pretty hard on the outside wall. None of them are going to walk away with a meatball in this one. And, Jimmy, I think we have our first caution here tonight without anybody getting a black flag. So I guess.
I mean, it ain't over yet. Some people might want to come down the pits. Somebody might want to come down the pits for some fuel or something, or maybe repair some damage. So I want to hold your breath on the flags yet until everybody's back out on the track after the cut, and so we're about to go green again. But yeah, very close here to the end of the race. Going to extend it here just a couple laps, and everybody's going to have to line back up now. Carl, when they they did come in and get fueled, did they get enough? Going 2 extra laps is, a question mark. So,
it's going to be a little more than 2 extra laps the way it looks too, because Pace Car finally grabbing them right now. So it's definitely going to be some overtime here, and you may have to sacrifice your position here to be able to make this thing to the end, especially if you're...
I'm in the back of the lead lap. I'm going in.
Well, I mean, if you're Alan Elwood and Dan Phelps, you're the ones that were burning the most fuel out there. So can they make it compared to your Joe Thomas, your AJ Roderick, who are behind them drafting and pushing a little bit? So they may be good to go, where your front leaders are on the inside and the middle are not good to go. So this will get pretty interesting here. And the question is, will we be able to get this thing done under green as well? I mean, this thing could very well go to a I believe there is, I gotta take a look now. There is 2 attempts at a green white checkered. So this thing may not be over on this restart. And I was about to ask, when are we going to see the first car try to go 3 wide and try and make a third line to try and make their way up through this thing? We just got to the 2 to go when the caution count came out right there. I would think probably by the backstretch there, we would have seen some cars starting to dip out there. They're going to try and go 3 wide. So now on this restart, you may see it pretty quickly here, because a second restart after this, and this race could be over very quickly. We do have about half of the field coming in to get some fuel. It looks like Kevin Foster is the one leading the charge into the field, but our top 10 are going to stay out. Looks like Josh Van Westen also coming into the pits here. With the top 10 being Alan Elwood, Dan Phelps, AJ Roderick, Joe Thomas, Tyler Skozen, Jack Stoneman, Jonathan Schwartz, Dave Tilford, John Williams Sr., and Zane Bierman staying out here. And you see your leaders and all the cars that stayed out. To me, I see a theme here, at least from Alan Elwood and Dan Phelps, trying to cut this track as short as possible. Or if they can make this a 2.25 mile track, is what they're trying to do right now.
I mean, every foot counts. Every RPM counts. It's all about throttle position. I've said this many times before. Just because you're in. I mean, obviously you need the speed, but it's about throttle position. At the end of the day, it used to be you could just shift up early, even with your foot pegged to the ground, even though the RPMs or whatever, the way I don't know how it was calculated before, but you could save fuel by just short shifting. You want to quite be all the way maxed out, and you just shift it early, and that would save you a little bit of fuel. Now it doesn't work like that. If your foot's down all the way to the floor at 100%, you're burning the max amount of fuel, regardless of how fast you're going. Whether you're going 10 miles an hour or 200 miles an hour, you're gonna burn that fuel. So
yeah, basically the percentage of throttle you have on is the percentage of fuel that you're burning at that time.
Right.
And it's I get it. It sucks that you can't do some of the gaming that you used to be doing, but I mean, everybody's on the same playing level. Everybody's just got to do the same thing here, and we'll see if they got enough to get this thing to the end. But you don't see this too often from Alan Elwood. Really trying to save this much fuel under caution. We're going to get this thing back underway here. We were scheduled for 55. We're going to go longer than that, because right now we're on lap number 57. We're going to get the green next time by and send them off for the first attempt at a green-white checkered. I have a feeling, Jimmy, if we get another caution, we may see those leaders have to come in pits.
Yeah, they're in a bad spot if they can't make this thing go green the rest of the way. So, I mean, they got to take the flag, make it around, and then take the flag and race to the end. So, it's a lot of time to get down there. But yeah, Alan Elwood still saving fuel. I mean, they're all the way down on just coming out of 2. So yeah, it's a long ways.
Well, I think one thing that both of the drivers at the front liked about this caution is the fact that it kept their partners behind them. You got AJ Roderick still right there behind Alan Elwood, Joe Thomas right there behind Dan Phelps, whether they're working as teammates or not. They're teammates now until the end, until maybe one of them decides to pull out to try and make that move. So Dan Phelps has found a new teammate. Kelly's not out there tonight, so Joe's going to have to fill in for sure. But another Kelly out there in the chat, and welcome back, Mama, out there. Foster certainly a fan favorite for a lot of drivers, but none more so than Kelly out there rooting on Kevin and looking to hopefully maybe get himself a top 10, maybe pass 5, 6, 7, maybe all 10 of these cars that stayed out here, and hoping they run out of fuel, because he came in there to top off. Him and Josh Van Weston were the first ones out of pit lane, so they are maybe the ones to watch to try and dive around these cars running out of fuel if they do. A lot of drama here late at Daytona, as there usually is. Green, white, checkered attempt number 1 is locked and loaded. We are, hopefully you are as well. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, because AJ Roderick is about to hit the back bumper of Alan Elwood to try and push them to the win of this thing. We're back to racing at Daytona.
Down in turn number 1 they go. Alan Elwood's off to the lead with AJ Roderick on that back bumper. Shift up a little bit and bags at 85, and the 55 goes and trying to make some muscle there. 199 makes a move. Gonna squeak down in there, and he's blocked in by the 5, but the 55 and 56 getting together. Gonna hold the whole line up, so maybe some team action there, working together. You see the 199 bumping the 5, trying to push him out front or out of the way. The 56 has nobody behind him to help him. It's going to need to be Tyler Scozen on the outside to get with the 56 in order to make this work.
He's going to slide up there.
Go to the outside. Now will the 56 work with the 5 against his teammate?
Close battling here. White flag in the air. The next flag will end it. We are going to finish this thing under green. I can't guarantee all these cars are going to finish across the line, though, because we've seen it before. Battling down into turn number 1 as we got some bumping and banging. I think we got some cars involved in some incidents back there. But at the front, Alan Elwood leads the way down the backstretch. Jack Stoneman there in second. On the outside, Jonathan Schwartz couldn't qualify here tonight, and he's all the way up there second, actually third right now. Kevin Foster up there trying to get himself at least the top 5 here. As you see, it is pretty busy coming out of turn number 4. Stoneman locked in here, and he's going to dive to the inside because Elwood's looking for the outside. And they're going to bump and bang, slide sideways. And it's going to be Alan Elwood with the win. John Williams Sr. coming home in second. Looks like Tyler Scozen going to come home in third. Kevin Foster, Chad Coleman for your top 5. Jimmy, Chad Coleman finally gets a break, and he gets through there, gets himself a top 5 after everything that went on here tonight. Somehow that 38 got himself a top 5. What a finish here tonight. We'll go back and take a look at that final lap here one more time and relive it, and see quite a few drivers, I think, getting caught up in the white flag incident here towards the back, and trying to see some of them that got involved here. We'll take a look here from Tommy Ryan as they got the white flag heading off into turn number 1, and look out right there, a little bit of a bump from maybe the 00 there of Terry Jansen, and quite a few drivers getting wrecked up there pretty badly. It looked like wasn't sure if and when anybody was going to make a move down the outside line. A little bit of pushing the pusher there from the 42 on the backstretch. Jumbled up things a little bit, and it looked like maybe everything opened up here for Jack Stoneman coming off of turn number 4. He saw the inside line there with Alan Elwood going to the outside, but AJ Roderick comes in there and creates a wedge. A perfect arrow heading to the line, and what a finish there on the end there. And Daytona, I know some drivers really enjoy coming here. As a broadcaster, I don't mind it, and when it's not too crazy with the cautions and everything like that. But I mean, as a driver, I'm not a big fan of super speedways. I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. It's a crapshoot sometimes, but I don't think anything is going to stop the train of Alan Elwood this season. Another win here tonight gives him 4 out of 6 on the season. But Jimmy, we had 38 other drivers out there. Why don't you give us a rundown of tonight's finishing order? I'll get these drivers up here ready for their interviews.
Yeah, 38 drivers finishing here tonight. Your winner is going to be Alan Elwood with John Williams Sr. in second. Tyler Scozen will finish in third. Kevin Foster does finish there in the top 5 in 4th position. Chad Coleman getting a break here at the end, getting the top 5, and that number 38 Kit Kat Machine. In 6th place going to be Dave Tilford. Randy Yoakum finishes in 7th. Joe Thomas will finish in 8th. Zane Bierman in 9th. Jonathan Schwartz will finish in the top 10. Josh Van Westen finishes in 11th with Jack Stoneman in 12th. Jeff Ryan in 13th. AJ Roderick in 14th. Terry Jansen Jr. Back there in 15th. He was quiet all night tonight. Jeremy Gainey in 16th. Dan Phelps in 17th. Tommy Ryan back in 18th. John Crane in 19th. Sean Hook in 20th. Dalen Drummond finishes back in 21st with Stephen Harris in 22nd. Ricky Renner in 23rd. Gary Wright 24th. Matthew Simmons quiet tonight as well, sitting back there in 25th. Louis Orduna with some incidents back there in 26th. 27th. Courtney Nickerson finishing her opening debut here tonight. With Danny Ware in 28th. Michael Schwartz finished at 29th. Jake Lesh back in 30th. Chris Hayes finishing in 31st. Courtney Nelson finishing in 32nd. Joe Sullivan in 33rd. James Hislop back in 34th. Robert Matthews in 35th. Paul Butler, pretty rough ending there, finishing back in 36th. 37th, Matt Crockett. 38, James Turnbull, and Troy Snyder finishing for your 39 car field here tonight with the CORE Xfinity Series.
And finally got the race results up there instead of the qualifying results, but you can see where everybody finished up there.
I wasn't reading them
on my side. Well, yeah, exactly. It's a good thing you got your own side over there. But either way, it ended up being a good finish there. And I mean, you see the final results and how close it was at the front for the gap, as Elwood beating John Williams there by .088, and then only 0.04 of a second separating Skozen and Foster there at the end for that final spot in the podium. But we'll get to talk to 5 drivers here tonight as we'll get them ready and queued up. Want to thank once again everyone out there for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe, get you in touch with everything that Sierra has to offer. I want to thank simraces.com as well for the sponsorship this season. But let's go ahead and start talking to some of our top drivers here tonight. We'll go ahead and start with your winner, Alan Elwood here, the 5, and getting his 4th win of the season. Alan, I know this was kind of a bit of a typical Daytona race. Some drivers just getting a little aggressive in the beginning, bringing out some cautions and getting a little hectic there at the end. But at the end of the day, you get the win here. You get your 4th win of the season. I guess COTA is the last checkbox on the season, because you're damn near winning every different discipline here so far this season.
I don't know. Everything's just kind of working out. I ran out of fuel coming out of 2 there after the checkered, so I barely had enough. But I also don't think I have any nails left after that.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, it's not often we see you down on the apron having to save fuel, but we figured, with this thing going overtime, like perfect timing for overtime, I would assume clearly that if this thing went to a quick second overtime, we would have seen you in the pits.
Oh yeah, and I may have even run out had we had to go to that scenario. I don't know if I'd have made it back to the pits. I was banking on just 1 green, white, checkered. So it was going to be really close. And I feel like being on the apron and stuff like that probably helped me maybe a little bit. And I did it as long as I could before the admin yelled at me. So I just had to pull every trick I could to try to make it on fuel. And I hated that AJ, him and I being up there all night. I hated that it didn't. He didn't finish where he should have finished in that melee, but yeah, just I don't know. It's you guys know these races are all about luck for the most part. I mean, there is some strategy and skill involved with it, but for the most part, it's a lot of luck. I mean, we just happened to get the cautions at the right time.
He did what he could off of turn 4 there. He saw a gap, he tried to go for it, and he kind of created his own little plow. But unfortunately, that plow kind of slowed him down there coming to the line.
Yeah.
It was a perfect arrow between him and the other 2 cars. But I mean, listen, it's been a hell of a start to the season. The first half certainly couldn't have gone too much better for you, winning 3 of the races. You already start the second half of the season off with a win. I know in a few races you may be mentally taken off a little bit because of it being COTA, but I mean, next week you guys come out and do kind of a little bit of the same, just a mile shorter with Echo Park.
Yeah, that race is going to be probably the most insane race of the year. I know this race was really chaotic, but the new Atlanta configuration is just insane, and it's going to be wild. But I mean, COTA by no means is going to be a sleeper for me. I knowing how the last time we went to a road course at Watkins Glen, how that went, and I was leading before unfortunate circumstances. I'm really looking forward to trying to go back there and seeing if I can compete with the road guys that are here racing this season, because I know they're going to put a heck of a fight up there. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, just got to get through Atlanta first, and you know, at least the only thing I can really hope for in these races, obviously for a win, but top 5, top 10, you just want to come out at a decent night with as much carnage and stuff goes on in these races like tonight happened. You just want to be out front and try to control the race as best you can.
Well, you've certainly been doing a lot of that this season so far, so congrats on your 4th win here. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Simrat Market, Performance Powder Coating had them on the car tonight. They're my main karting sponsor, so shout out to Dave and everybody in Russia, Ohio for their support of our karting endeavors and everything. Rider Racing Development, of course, and you guys up here in the booth for, I'm sure, calling another thrilling race. Can't wait to watch tomorrow at work, even though there was some cautions, but still a good finish there at the end. And everybody, of course, is always watching and tuning in and watching the show that we put on, and appreciate y'all out there, and yeah, it's a lot of fun always.
Well, once again, congrats out there tonight, and fantastic job with a little help from your teammate there, AJ, getting out there, and he didn't have to deal with any kind of green flag pit stops, which I'm sure he wasn't disappointed about. But we'll see what you guys can do next week at Echo Park, and see if you can get up there for a 5th win of the season.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That is your winner tonight, the 5 of Alan Elwood, getting it done here once again. 2nd place here tonight, Jimmy, is going to go to the 42 of John Williams Sr.
John, Jimmy and Carl in the booth, you copy?
Oh, yeah, I got you. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. You finally get yourself up here. You made yourself all the way through the field. 20 spots tonight to kind of battle it out there to the end. I would say a little crazy here, but able to work your way and stay safe at the end. So give us a little rundown on how your night was, and yeah.
Yeah, man, just try to take it easy. I knew it was going to kind of be a circus, so I tried to save my fast repair for the whole night. And then I realized that, you know, the runs weren't long enough for me to make it back through the field. So I got lucky on one of those big ones and was able to gain, you know, pretty good track position. And at that point, I just tried to keep enough fuel on board and keep moving forward.
How much fuel did you have at the end?
Oh, I finished, I think, with like a half a lap. We could have ran another one. I made it work.
we were always up here with me and Carl, always in the booth. You know, when the green green white checker attempts come out, or you know, and everybody was in that fuel for like a splash and go. Like, you know, who has fuel, who doesn't? And you know, just got done talking to Alan, and he said, you know, he ran out in turn 2. So you know, not much fuel on board for the leader, and you never know what could have happened if it went you know, another caution would have flew here at the end, because we know how, you know, Daytona can be. But we want to say congratulations, man, on getting a great finish here tonight at Daytona, and hopefully we'll get the chance to see you get up here again, as next week you guys are off to the new Atlanta, or known as Echo Park. So I guess we'll catch you there. But before we let you get out of there, we'll give you some time for some shouts on at number 42.
Yeah, man, just like to shout out Sean Hook, Jake Lesh, Georgia Company Heating and Cooling, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Loco Exteriors down in the Low Country. Jeremy Little, if you need a house wash, Google him, give him a call. He'll give you a nice little clean scrubbing. You guys for putting this thing on, and all my Conrads who off themselves for me to finish second.
Again, congratulations on your 2nd place finish, and thanks for the shout out. So we'll let you go celebrate this one with your friends and
Thank
family.
you, boss.
Yes, sir.
That is your 2nd place finisher here tonight, the 42 of John Williams Sr. 3rd place here tonight, as everything is all of a sudden jacked up for me on my side. But 3rd place here tonight is going to go to Tyler Skozen in the 55. Tyler, you and Jack were up there for quite some time, and it seemed like some of the teammates were kind of lining up together. You had certainly AJ Roderick and Alan Elwell working together at the front. You had you and Jack right there, but you guys were side by side, and it seemed like you could never kind of hook up together to work together. I don't know if that was eventually going to be the plan, or if it was that late in the race and it was kind of just a free for all. But either way, you find a way to sneak your way into the podium here at the end. And anytime you get a podium at Daytona, it feels pretty good.
Yeah, it definitely is. Me and Jack, I mean, honestly, we wanted to start working together probably halfway through that last stint. So, I mean, it was on our mind. We were talking about it the whole time. We had the plan. We know what we wanted to do, but just, I don't know, they never lined up right to how we wanted to, work together. Because I was on the bottom. I think it was third in lane. He was third on the outside. And, we knew that it was going to be tough from that spot, but we knew if we were working together, we'd have a shot. And I was hoping I could slide up in front of him. That's what we were deciding. But like the lanes just kept moving at such times that we didn't need it to, and we just never were able to. And then the last restart, I mean, we were talking under the whole caution about what to do. We were terrified about fuel, but thankfully we had enough. We had enough for one, but not a second overtime, so we're thankful we didn't get that. But it was going to be the same. I was going to try to line up in front of him on the restart, depending on how it goes. But we had such a good start on the bottom, like I was hoping for. And I don't know, I just made too many mistakes on that last lap. I pushed into Dan there, which I hate. I felt bad for him. I thought I was going to be more clear. I didn't expect AJ in front of me to check up as soon as he did, so I just kind of took the spot. And I mean, at least we got up there. But once AJ got in front of me, I was like, yeah, there's no chance here. But I don't know. From there, I was just making poor moves every now and then, and I don't know. I could have made some better choices probably there, but I mean, third's fine. Really, I'm glad we missed that wreck there at the end, barely. I knew that wreck was going to happen. I just thought I was going to be on the lap before, and I was going to have to pit for fuel. But I don't know. It was a close miss, but I guess at the end of the day, P3 is pretty all right, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, I think just anytime you can finish in the top 10, let alone on the podium here at Daytona, you got to just take a deep breath, wipe the sweat off your forehead, and move on to the next race. Well, the next race is not going to get that much different, other than that it's a mile shorter. You guys go to Echo Park for a little bit more kind of super speedway racing action. What are your thoughts on the new Echo Park, and what do you think that 55 can do?
I love it. I love super speedway racing quite a bit. It doesn't always go my way necessarily all the time, but I still love the racing. I was really excited for this race. I really thought we had a good shot to win, and especially once we fired off on that last restart, I was like, okay, I really think we have a shot at this. And that didn't work out. But next week, I mean, I expect very much the same. I really love the new Echo Park. It's a lot of fun. Make a lot of moves. You can race on like these kinds of racetracks, but it's also kind of, you get to be a little bit more calculated, a little bit kind of plan your stuff. It's not going to be always full throttle. At least probably won't. I don't know yet. But it'll be fun. I'll look forward to it again. Hopefully it's hopefully we can go a little bit more green than we did tonight. But I don't know. I thought after last year's it was going to be a little bit more smoother than it was this year, but you'll have those races every now and then. So I guess hopefully next week everything goes better, and hopefully we can get a few spots better.
I mean, until you guys just finally let me have the full reins and let me make the entire schedule of Michigan and Auto Club, you guys are going to have some races that aren't that good. It just is what it is.
That'll happen. That's racing for you. It's not everything's going to be perfect.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, you get yourself a top 4 here tonight. A top 3 here tonight. So congrats on the finish. Before we let you go and get out of here, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Yeah, of course. You guys for putting on this show, of course. I'm sure you're going to have a very fun post-race debrief for this one. All you guys that put it on, I'll definitely go ahead and give it a watch.
I'm going to start docking everybody 15 points every time I got to go over 15 minutes.
That's a good point. But, yeah, of course, all that, all friends and family that watch, of course, support every now. Really appreciate that all the time. And, of course, all all everybody at UNOH for the support, like usual. Great to have them on board always. Hopefully we can continue, maybe get another win or two here by the end of the season. But I don't know. It's going to be tough. I mean, I keep looking at these points, and at this point, I mean, I really thought this was going to be our chance to beat Allen, really. I mean, we're there, but we're still a little bit away. But, like, we really need something. We need more consistent runs like this, but we need some bad runs out of him. So we're just going to keep running for how we've been here for the most part, and hopefully things go our way the rest of the year.
Well, it's certainly been an interesting year so far, and you got an uphill battle certainly with the way Alan O has been running this season, but you're still in the mix there for the Platinum. Never know how the rest of the second half goes. So we wish you luck. We'll see you next week out there at Echo Park.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That is your third place finisher here tonight, the 55 of Tyler Skozen. Our top finishing bronze driver here tonight is gonna go to the 218 of Joe Thomas.
Oh, Jimmy calling a bit, copy.
I got you.
Well, you get it done here tonight, getting the best finish back there. And, I seen you up front pushing a little bit. I thought maybe you were going to give a chance for maybe push somebody to a win. Give us a little rundown of your race and how everything else was out there for you.
Yeah, I was hoping for, I was expecting to run in the back, and just because I'm battling a flu that I picked up in 80-degree weather in Arizona, and it hit hard on the red eye back from Vegas last night. And so I was just expecting to stay in the back, try to avoid the wrecks and just chill. But I somehow ended up in the front and was running well. I apologized to a couple of drivers that were behind me on my fishtailing because of my reaction time, because of my headache and all that stuff from my flu. But it was a lot better than expected. Wish I would have stayed, looking at the replay, I wish I would have stayed a little higher on that last wreck, and maybe I would have avoided becoming a whirling dervish across the finish line. But it is what it is. Still got a top 10.
And bring that 218, a top 10 to here, and get yourself a great finishing spot for your division. So we want to always recognize those types of races. Next week, you're off to Road Atlanta, another kind of race. Hopefully your headache dissolves here and be able to get a great run there at Echo Park. What are your thoughts on the upcoming week?
Yeah, just first off, got to get healthy first, and I hope it doesn't last another week. But I like the super speedways. They can be a crapshoot or a wild card, as it's said in the clean world. But I kind of like Atlanta, and we'll see how it goes.
Definitely looking forward to seeing you out there on track, hopefully in much better condition and feel a lot better. But for this one here, we want to recognize your good finish and say congratulations. Give you a little bit of time for any shots you might have in that car.
Yeah, as always, pinusforvets.com. Go and check out them and their mission to visit veterans in the hospitals, and Operation Motorsport. Check out their website and all they do, and getting veterans into road racing on the crews and all that. And then you guys as well for the broadcast, and that's pretty much it.
We really appreciate the shouts. Again, it was great seeing you up there here tonight. But for this one, we want to say congratulations, and then we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family and get better.
Yeah, going right back to bed.
Good night.
That is your top 10 finisher, your top finishing bronze driver here tonight, the 218 of Joe Thomas. Got one more interview. He was eluding the booth here for a little bit, and I had to track him down. I had to send out the search party for him, but we got him in here, and that is the man that finished up here in fourth position. Didn't get the win that he called out. He tried to Babe Ruth it and call his shot and get the win, but I'll be damned anyway. The number 8 of Kevin Foster finally finds his way to the booth. Top finishing gold driver here tonight. Top 5 here at Daytona. Kevin, welcome back to the booth.
Guys, it's been a while.
A hot minute.
First off, Carl, guys, thank you in the CORE Racing League for putting this on. I tried to Babe Ruth it tonight and call my shot and come up a couple spots short, and
I mean, you
it
were
was
technically right. I mean, you won gold, right?
I won. Yes, that's what I was talking. I meant gold. Okay, not the overall, but just in the gold series. Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Sorry, I didn't clarify that. I apologize. But man, the cars were a blast, and I wish that iRacing would kind of help these cars get spread out a little bit, so it's not so much relying on the bumper of the car behind you. But overall in the pack, we got a few laps there, and car felt good. It was stable, and it just a lot of unfortunate accidents, and I don't know what to say, but hey, you know what? Top finishing gold with the talent that's in the CORE Racing League here. Man, that means a lot. I just appreciate you guys letting me come back and do a few races a year and hang out. And Mr. Barry's out there in the chat, I'm assuming, and hopefully, Mom, hopefully you're watching the other family members. So, are they out there? Did you see them?
Of course, yeah. Barry's out there rooting you on. He's happy to see you back out there. And of course, Mama's out there too. I was giving her a shout out. So, yeah, so she's that's why I was gonna be extremely disappointed if we didn't get you in here for an interview because Mama's still out there waiting to hear your voice on the broadcast here one more time.
Yeah. So, you know what? I got a couple more races that I do plan on doing this season. So, not the last that, hopefully this is not my last interview this season here in the Xfinity Series. It was a blast, and I had fun, and, I can't wait till a couple more weeks rolls around and I get to come back and do it again. I mean, I helped you guys start this league, and, it's been a great part of my life for the past, 5 years now? 6 years we've been doing this?
Coming up on 7.
7 years. Yeah. Man, that's insane. And like all the people at home watching, if you guys knew what everything that's involved with CORE Racing, and there's racing almost 7 nights a week here on the CORE Racing Network, please get out there. You guys ain't got anything to do, just hit the like, share, and subscribe button on the CORE Racing Network there and get the notifications. So every time a race comes on, you're sitting there at the home doing nothing, just tune in and listen to Carl, Jimmy, and the guys call the race. They do a fantastic job, and I'm just thankful I get to sit here and do what I love, and got fans and people that support me. So thank you guys.
We appreciate it for sure, and definitely everything that you've been through here in CORE, and good to hear you get back up here in the booth with us here one more time. Hopefully, like you said, not the last time here for the season, but we'll see you hopefully next week at Echo Park, and maybe another chance for you to call your shot, whether it's gold or overall, whatever. Either way, we get a chance to talk to you.
Okay, so next week is the new Echo Park?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Well, race fans out there, everyone out there, I will see you all next week.
There you go. Well, hopefully you get the top spot in the goal. We'll talk to you again. But either way, take some time, celebrate this one, and we'll see you next week out there on the track.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
That is your 4th place finisher here tonight, Kevin Foster, in at the number 8, getting himself a top 5 here, getting him the win in gold. Exactly what he said, exactly what I meant. But either way, I want to thank everyone out there for running in the race here tonight, 39 cars strong. And I know it got a little rough for some drivers out there, but as much as the saying goes, that's just short track racing. Well, it's just Daytona racing. Unfortunately, one car makes a little mistake and it takes out several. That's what exactly could happen here at Daytona, and it did a few times. But in the end, we've seen a heck of a run to the finish line, and we've seen Alan would take one more step towards reclaiming his throne at the top of the standings here in the Platinum. I want to thank everyone out there for tuning in here tonight. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I want to thank the sponsors here, simraces.com, for everything they do, and a shout out to Gims Cups and more as well for everything that they do for CORE, but for myself and Jimmy from Daytona, first night of Daytona Speed Weeks here for CRN. We'll see you at the track.